We'll take some calls, 131-873. I've got Don on the line from Villawood. Hello, Don.
Morning there, Frank. How are you this interesting morning?
Oh, well, it's been an interesting morning, all right. Yeah, pretty well, Don.
It was a great Prime Ministerial concession speech.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, I think there's a fair few thinking people. I'd like to think I'm a thinking person who are not feeling so Prime Ministerial and statesman-like, because I think the people who voted right in, particularly New South Wales and Queensland, had perpetrated upon them one of the biggest political con jobs in Australian history.
Do you think so?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was hardly questioned by the media pack. And we're talking about Mr. of course, running up to the election. I'm just wondering, hard questioning. I mean, some of these fellows wouldn't make it in the Fleet Street pack. I mean, and I don't know if you noticed some of those journos overseas, particularly in the UK, really question their politicians.
Yeah,
hard.
they do. You're right.
And I was so frustrated, as I was saying in a recent call to 2GB about this. I'm just wondering whether some of these media hacks are going to lay it on the line thick to the new PM. You know, let's hear some policies.
Yeah, I thought. I thought Kerry O'Brien was the only one that was really tough.
Well, I mean, unlike some people that call up 2GB, I think the ABC have been pretty fair. I mean, sure, they've got their left-wing views on the ABC, but quite frankly, I mean, I think I'm a pretty fair sort of fellow, and I'll take people as they come, and I think particularly Barry Cassidy.
Very good.
I think a lot of people may have thought, you're just upset because it didn't appeal to insiders, but he had a very good point, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, I think this was part of the Labor strategy, wasn't it? To they were courting the younger voters like Billio, and to go on the softer type programs. I mean, Rove, for heaven's sake. It's the only time I've ever watched Rove in my life, and I'll never watch it again.
Well, I only saw the highlights of it, but the thing is, Frank, I spent I'm sunburned from head to toe because I spent about 10 hours out there handing out how to vote.
Oh, did you?
The Liberals in Blackstone, and there was the Labor Party machine was very well run, Frank, and they were pretty likeable people too, wearing Jason Clare T-shirts. But in a few little discussions I had with them, I sort of detected that they weren't really convinced that they were there to do their man's bidding, and which was good. And in fact, the actual candidate, the new member for Blackstone, actually came out. I nearly had my picture taken with him. I thought I'd better not do it.
That would have been good fun.
I don't know where that picture would have ended up, Frank, but I enjoyed the experience.
Could have ended up on the front page of the Socialist Worker or something.
Or in the local rag here. I don't know if I want my face plastered in the local rag, Frank, but it was the most interesting experience. But I think Australia's political ship is going to be rudderless. I don't really think it's going to be steered in the proper direction. But I really would like to emphasise that the media pack should really get down and ask the hard questions of this new leader. I think that's what's going to have to happen. And if they don't, they stand eternally condemned.
It's the world of the 30-second grab now, Don.
Yeah, Frank, I mean, I don't know if is it particularly something to do with Queensland. I mean, Joe had the meat out of their pack.
Yeah, that's funny, wasn't it? Yeah.
Out of his hands. Then Mr. Beattie, very popular Premier, and the Queensland Press Gallery, quite easy-going with him. Anna Bly's sort of facing that situation, and I think it's just, it might be a particular trait in Queensland.
It must be a Queensland thing, you're probably right.
But also New South Wales, I mean, I don't believe in compulsory 4-year terms. I mean, look at the state of the state government. I mean, Mr. Yemo and his crowd know that they've got about 3.5 years or so to go, so they can basically do what they like. I think the Lord Mayor of Sydney ought to sort of be questioning. I think it was Clover Moore, one of the independents, wasn't he, who were forced a 4-year term on the state. So
so that's right. But it's a 4-year term, exactly a 4-year term. You've got to have your election on a certain date.
You've got to keep your pollies on their toes, Frank.
Yeah.
And if these characters know exactly when the election is going to be, they can they can do what they want. And,
yeah,
you know.
I think the idea behind that was to stop those snap elections after 18 months. You know, if the opinion polls are going your way, you pull a snap election. I think it was to discourage that.
Yeah, well,
and it seemed like a good idea at the time, but I'm of your view now. I don't think it is.
But to use a Houstonism, the fight back starts as of last night, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, fair enough too, because you've got to have a good opposition. A good opposition helps make a government work better.
Yeah, and I think Mr. Costello should do a job. Can I ask you, Frank, what happened to George Newhouse? Apparently, I heard something on the wires that he got a face slap. But what was
apparently, that Caroline Overington, you know, from the Australian.
Oh, I've heard the name.
Yeah, well, she was in the news the other week. She was sending emails to Newhouse's ex-girlfriend, you know, the one that was also standing.
Yeah, nice-looking banker.
Yeah, that's right. And she was suggesting, give your preferences to Malcolm and all that, and she dismissed it as a joke. And then she emailed Newhouse a couple of times in regard to doing an interview with him, and then said, "I'll stake out your house, and I notice you're single. Maybe I'll." You know, it was kind of a flirtatious little thing, and I think he must have. I'm not quite sure how he reacted, but anyway, she's walked up to him and gone bang and slapped his face yesterday. She had her 2 7-year-old twins with her at the time.
Was there any journo with a camera?
Not that I know of. I mean, she's denying it like mad. I haven't read the Sydney story on it yet. I read a piece out of the Melbourne Herald Sun, and she's denying it. But then about 4 different witnesses were quoted, and poor old George is saying, "Oh, she hit me really hard, and it stung like mad, and my face is all red."
Poor fellow. But I'm just wondering whether it's really worth. Perhaps it might be worth the Liberal hierarchy to pursue a course of taking some of these Labor victors to the Court of Disputed Returns. I mean, look at Jackie Kelly. She was disqualified.
That's right. They had
because she was a Kiwi.
Well, she was
re-elected.
And she was in the Air Force or something, wasn't she? I don't think she quite resigned from the Air Force. That went to a by-election, and of course she increased the majority.
But even if people are going to say, okay, it's not going to change the result because it's too much of a rud slide, as it were, at least it will, if some of these newly elected Labor MPs get booted out, it will reduce the majority for the next election. I think these people should be scrutinised severely to see whether they were eligible to vote right across the country.
I suppose so. I suppose that should be the way with every election, but it's the Liberal Party clutching at straws, really. Isn't it?
Well, it would help. Anyone they can put out of action.
Well, when you're born to rule, of course you do that kind of thing, and they all believe they're born to rule.
But the thing is, Frank, if they don't follow the rules and regulations as laid down, as everyone is supposed to follow in this country in a democracy, then.
But who said they haven't? I mean, it's one.
Well, that's right. Well, that's up to the Court of Disputed Returns if it actually gets.
I mean, there's one accusation made by some disgruntled Liberal person, and everybody takes it as gospel.
Well, I mean, that's what we've got the rule of law for, Frank. And I mean, these things have got to be tested, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, apart from anything else, I don't agree with compulsory voting.
You don't? No, I don't think anybody would turn up if there was.
I mean, the booth I was at had about 2,000, and around about 5 o'clock when I was feeling extremely sunburnt, despite the cloud cover and a little bit of sun. There was only about 150 people who had to rock up. I mean, the power of the wallet seems to be more concerning some punters out there than whether I should go, sort of front up and vote. Yeah,
look, I think if it wasn't compulsory, you'd be lucky to get a 50% turnout.
Well, that's their fault. I mean, people.
Oh, yeah, true. I agree with that. Yeah.
The thing is, if people don't vote and they're unhappy with the elected government of the day, that's their fault.
I think you'd get something like what happens in England now with buses being laid on and cars and all. Whoever can organise the transport better wins the election.
Well, that sounds more like an interesting time. I mean, I'd like to say to Kevin Rudd, may you live in interesting times.
Old Chinese curse.
Absolutely.
Righto, Don.
Oh, thanks, Frank.
Better luck next time.
Cheers. All right.
Righto, mate.
Bye now.
Okay.
C'est vrai que je parle français, mais alors je suis le ministre des Affaires étrangères d'Australie et il faut parler en anglais si vous êtes australien.